Welcome to the Cannon Crue. I am Granite, and I am joined by Patrick. How are you, Patrick?
Okay.
Okay,
Just okay.
just okay, just okay. Ryan, how are you doing?
Doing good.
So we have a just okay, and we're doing good. So let's talk a little bit about the battery. Let's talk a little bit about the first match. Heartbreaking, punch in the gut, slap in the face. We were a little excited beforehand, and it quickly went away. So let's talk about the starting 11.
A lot of new faces. We had what, five new players come in and start.
We
Um,
did.
New goalie, new. I mean, hell, what position didn't we have someone new in?
So we
Ikaza,
had a
number 8.
goalkeeper, right back, CDM, left winger, striker.
I mean, we even had new position at left back for Chris Allen.
We
So
sure did. Well, he played there at the end of the last season, but
Last
I don't.
season, yeah.
Is that his normal position?
No,
Is
he's a
left back?
CDM.
Then why are we playing him at left back?
That's what I was confused about. But then we made the halftime substitution and put Dos Santos back there. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
who Nate probably had the best scoring chance out of everybody from the open play. But anyways, let's talk quickly about Mr. Klein.
Very influential
Sounds like
player.
there's an airplane going over somebody's house. Are we back in Kiev, or are we in Moscow there, Ryan?
I hope not.
So let's talk about Klein real quick. So Patrick, you had an interesting view from your seats because you kind of moved on us because you brought your lovely wife, and you got to sit close to his parents.
Smart move.
yeah, his mom was sitting in front of us. So our new seats are basically in the wives and girlfriends section. So we're the Wags crew now.
Ah,
Um, But unfortunately for his family, they only got to see about 45 minutes before he came off. I didn't think there was anything to write home about, but I also didn't think he played that terrible. I mean, it's hard to say someone played bad in our first half when the battery had 70% possession.
Did you notice where he was kind of playing? Was it really traditional left back, or was he moving forward? Was he getting any overlapping runs?
No, he was definitely playing just up. Like he was, I mean, it's hard to tell. He's more at the half line most of the game. So whether it be on counters or whatever, I mean, it's more of a supporting role, but like I said, nothing really to write home about. I don't think he was involved enough. Like a lot of our new guys, they just weren't really involved in a lot of the play, and the effort wasn't there to get involved.
Oh, that's an interesting point there. He said the effort wasn't there. It did seem like it was a little lackluster. It looks like we were missing a little energy, and I don't know why we didn't have that energy. So let's talk about some other players that were in there for starting 11 that we have not seen before. Um,
would
Langston
you?
Blackstock.
Yeah.
Did he really?
I thought he did okay. I thought he did good for the first opening minutes. He had two tackles. He won. Outside of that, honestly, he didn't really produce much. He had an opportunity or two to put a few crosses in and decided not to, pull them back, sent them back around. Um, again, I agree with Pat. There wasn't an emphasis on to stand out in the game, per se.
Yeah, I was talking to Kelly the next day, and she was sitting in a spot in the first half where she could see Langston playing, and she just kept getting, he didn't seem like he was into the game, like he was just, I don't want to say lazy, but he just wasn't an active participant. So it was an interesting viewpoint from somebody on the sideline there.
And it's something to make note of because it's not something we see from a pyramid squad ever. It's just kind of a lack of hustle. Like we have guys that can come on and play, and maybe that's why he made some halftime substitutions because there just wasn't anything on the field for him to be like, hey, it's just not going to do it at home if we're not even taking chances on goal and we're getting pretty opened up on our back end. as well.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit. The Blackstock, the other thing, he didn't play like he played in the preseason match against the Greenville Triumph. There, he was making a lot of overlapping runs and just really getting up forward and spreading out the defense. And here, it didn't seem like he was doing that as much as he was there, or what we're used to from Nate. As soon as Nate come on, that was a different story, was it not? I guess he come in on Chris Allen's side, but we started seeing those overlapping runs.
I mean, it's a little tough with Torres in front of you. I mean, you know he's going to stay more forward. So if you're going up, unless it's like that last ditch playoff effort, he's not sprinting back as much. So I can see like the tactical reason to kind of hang back and maybe play a little more dull defensively. But yeah, I'll say my wife did point out she has no idea what's happening with the team. And she said, are a lot of these guys new? Because it just doesn't look like they're gelling together. We weren't really connecting passes like more than two or three at a time before just playing kind of a wayward ball.
Yeah, and it wasn't like we didn't have possession. We had a lot of possession, like we normally do. It just, you're right. It just seems like there wasn't the connection there that we've seen or got used to last year and the year before.
And it's still a first game. So, I mean, there's plenty of time to grow. It was very exciting having all these guys come in. Thought
Yeah.
we were
What do you,
just going to scream down the field and shoot at the goal the whole time.
well, everybody loves a new signing, but then also you throw five or six of them on the pitch, and maybe that's too many new signings all at once, or at least early in the season. So the other player noted was Landry playing midfield. Patrick, you had some thoughts on him.
I did not. No.
No, you
I,
didn't.
I, I think my whole thing with all these guys was meh. I'd like to see some shuffle before the next game.
Yeah, they weren't moving as well as we're used to. Aaron was in front, kind of patrolling in front of our two center backs, and he was doing what he normally does. But he didn't have Chris Allen up there to connect with, and maybe that seems like that was kind of obvious. And he
Yeah.
wasn't used to Landry where he was going, and Ikaza was so far forward where he should be as an eight, and it just we're missing that linkage through that middle third.
Well,
And the
New
last one,
Mexico, oh, that's where Landry is supposed to come in at, and provide that type of specialty role because that's exactly what he did for New Mexico United last season. He was that midfielder role where he connected from the CDM to the cam or two out wide, and he directed and dictated that midfield in a lot of games, especially after Battery opened up. We beat New Mexico 4-0. Don't forget, New Mexico then went out and won the Western Conference in the regular season. So he played a massive role last year. Maybe he just has another slow start. I hope to continue to see him in the starting lineup, but it just looked like he was about a second or two behind the entire game.
yeah, and
So
maybe it's a language issue. I don't know. We'll see. Last person I want to talk about real quickly new on the roster was our keeper Ryan. Go for it.
no, Luis did really good. He's a very elusive keeper. He's you could honestly compare him very well and very closely to Adam Grinwis, who we had last year. But Luis obviously adds a few more years to of playing time to have him around as a younger guy. He very very good footwork. That's one thing I actually kind of rate him higher over Adam with. The one thing that is kind of questionable is his ball handling. That was his keeper note marked at with DC United. Um, Came into the game and there were some questionable calls on some of his air balls, and again with his second goal. First
Yeah, but
goal, great save. Second goal,
I think he did very well except for that second goal, and I don't know if he just didn't see it. We talked a little bit before we jumped on here. I had a different view of it than you all did because you thought maybe there were some issues with some players that should have not
well,
let the other player turn. But it just seemed like he just didn't see it.
yeah, I kind of look at it like this, right? So both goals. First one, he made a great save. Defense doesn't clear the ball out, gets rebounded, goes in. Unfortunate. Second one, it's 50-50. Guy should not be able to turn 20 or so yards in front of the box, turn and have the direct shot. Secondly, he should have saved that. That's definitely very savable. I mean, his arms are bent, ball goes right through his hands. I mean, there's it's a textbook save, but again, he has that vision blockage. Anything can happen, and it was unfortunate against us.
So let's back up to that first goal because I'm a believer in Juan David. We were talking earlier too about how El Pupo made the fantastic save. It goes out. We did a really crappy clearance, and it just seemed like there was a big hole in our defense between our right back and Juan David. Not even want to come back and try to fill that spot.
Yeah, I mean, it's not something that we like to see, but we do get the benefit of that more so by having this outlet with Juan David and getting these wonder goals from him. So it makes sense for him to stay up more, but you can't have one amazing save. This is his third biggest save in a row to keep us in the game. He had two in the first half that were 1v1. The first save, probably the best I've seen in a long time, just cutting the near post and blocking it with his foot from the back post. The second one was a 1v1, I think like 29th minute, but another huge save. Archer clears it, but clears it like 15 yards up in the air. And they go win the ball back. And then again, our right back is just, there's no effort in another challenge because it's a 50-50 ball, but this 50-50 ball is in your box. You have to go for it. You can't just half-ass it and be like, it's on you. Like, this is 100% a defensive mistake and a defensive goal. I don't blame the keeper for this one at all.
No, not at all. And it seemed like they were the defensive backs were so far shifted over in front of the goal that it kind of opened up that space even more and allowed that to happen. Ryan, what's your thoughts on it?
No, again, I think I already voiced it well enough. Again, keeper makes a great first save. Defense doesn't clear it. It's a thing I teach my young keepers now is that when a mistake like that happens, it's those type of mistakes you can't let that hurt you or stay in your mind at all. When a keeper normally makes a mistake, they let that kind of dwell on them a bit. They want to learn from it. When it comes to stuff like this, honestly, it's the one thing that every keeper kind of struggles with, and it's the communication aspect. Just communication is the only thing to avoid something like this because the defense has to have the urgency and the communication to be able who's going for it, who's marking, who's got pressure, cover balance, etc. Um, and that's honestly it right there. And that's the frustrating part because communication is such a simple thing that we do day in and day out that we forget to do it sometimes.
Yeah, and Ryan, you and I were at the tunnel when they were coming off, and Luis was coming off, and he was obviously not a happy person. And I
Yep.
appreciate that. I appreciate that anger and that kind of that self examination that made him kind of just walk down the middle. You can see that he was very upset with himself. So I appreciate that. Other players come off and they're a little more jovial. I was like, yeah, we just took a 2-1 ass whipping by our direct competitors, and they probably should be a little more repentant. I don't know, remorseful. I don't know what the word is.
Well, you're looking at him, right? You're watching him come down the tunnel, and you're not seeing a player who's pissed off and frustrated over the result that came about off a performance they just had. They're not throwing the trash can. They're not kicking the chairs. They're not swearing. They're not treating the fans poorly. They're not doing this or that. He's simply put his head down and is self-reflecting, and everyone could see it on his face. That he was upset and knew to leave him, and that he's going to come back and go to work this week in training. I have
Yeah,
no doubts about that.
there's no doubt about that. I mean, because hopefully this is the one hiccup that he has, and the rest of the time he's laser focused. Not saying he wasn't laser focused. I don't know how I missed it, other than just shit happens. I'm
Mhm.
sorry.
No,
Happens.
Oh, late on that one.
Someone's got a new button tonight.
I got a bunch of different buttons. So let's move on to let's talk about something very positive, and that was the Wonder Strike again by Juan David. I don't know what happened there, Ryan. I'm going to throw it to you because again, it looked like the keeper. I don't know what are you
You want
doing
to
as a
talk about a
keeper?
keeper not seeing it?
Yeah, what are you doing as a
It's right
keeper?
in front of him the whole time.
Are you watching the wall? Or what could have happened from your perspective?
So as a keeper, what I try to do with my players is that you want to line up the wall within. It depends on the type of kicker. So, and for instance, like Juan David, I would have done one person from the goal post over. So if I'm looking at my front post, I have one person length left of the goal post, and then everybody else is to the right of it, because I know Juan David's going to use a left-footed in swinger. Then when you set up your position, you're kind of crouched low enough to where you can see through your player's legs or through them side by side, and you're able to lock in on the ball. That keeper never saw the ball again once he got his wall set up. He was You can watch the video, he is constantly looking for the ball the entire time through their feet, and he never saw it again.
Do you think that was the case, or do you think he was just watching the players? Because people were crashing in, and like his defender went to head it, went right over his head. Do you think he was just expecting someone to redirect it, so he was not too quick to like move his positioning? Because that's what it looked like. It looked like he was just waiting for someone to hit it, and then it was too late. No one's touching it. Oh shit! I gotta go dive at this.
In my opinion, if he sees it the whole way, he's claiming that ball right away. Like he's moving his defender, or he's going over top of his defender and will knock his defender down to punch that ball. Because I know I'm going to get that ball over my defender, because if my defender misses it like he did, then we're in the same situation. So that's why keepers have the confidence. If they know that they can go out and get it, you knock your defender down. I'm sure you've probably had instances where keepers kind of knocked you down, but apologize to you saying had it cleared out. That's definitely one of those instances where I believe he just did not fully, never relocated the ball, misjudged it, froze on his line, and ball goes in. We're up two, or we're tied 1-1.
Ryan, did you ever apologize when you cleared everybody out?
Huh?
Did you ever apologize for clearing everybody out, going out to get the ball?
No, no, no.
Okay. Are you talking about that fictional, good-natured keeper that does that? Okay.
He's saying what he teaches, not what he practices.
Okay, I'll go with that.
So what you're saying is Juan David hit the invisible ball and used a little magic and got it in the net.
Oh
The
yeah, for
invisible
sure.
ball. It's fantastic.
For
So,
sure.
do you think maybe the keeper's positioning? Because Patrick and I watched a match over the weekend where it seemed like a keeper kind of cheated to one side and then paid drastically for it. Do you think maybe because if you know Juan David, you know he's coming with, like you said, that left-footed in swinger. Do you cheat to one side versus the other?
Mhm. You have to. And that's the other thing too that kind of upsetted me, because the way the keeper was standing is that he was outside of his wall. He was far right enough to where he was standing outside of the last man on the wall, where normally for Juan David, him being a left-footed, you need to be two people inside your wall. So almost in the middle of your wall, you're looking at the foot, because he has all respect. I mean, you saw what he just did to you. You have to respect the shot. And I'm telling my first two players to not jump and to stay on the ground, and I'm telling my inside two guys to jump, in case he shoots it. And if that ball is coming on the ground, I'm hoping my defender can clear that one on the ground out first before it gets to me.
Patrick, any more thoughts on Juan David's invisible ball shot?
It's
I
beautiful.
will just say he wasn't 100% going for goal, but this was the second big chance he created, one right before halftime, where it was like 44th minute, where he kind of slashed it right across goal. And Cal Jennings, I think Cal was offside if he had been able to put his foot out and kick it in, but it
Maybe.
was a big chance. right before. So like again, it seemed like Torres was the only one out there providing these big chances during the entire match. And like I said, I mean, you kind of expect certain things if he's not coming back to defend. And he upheld his bargain on the attacking end of the field for us.
Well, I
I just don't think
apologize.
anyone helped him.
I apologize. I should have brought my hat out a little, my Colombian hat out a little sooner. Recognize this, Ryan?
Yes, I do.
Okay, very good. This I'm gonna start wearing this to
Now,
matches all
real
the time.
quick, while we're still on 1DV, Pat, how did you see him play in the middle of the field? From what I saw, I think he has been given permission to fulfill in Nick Marcanic's free roam role because I saw him go from left to right side of the field constantly with the ball at his feet too at times. Not him just making a run left to right, but him with the ball at his feet too, constantly going across top of the box with the ball at his feet too. So just curious to see if you saw that too. Do you think that he has been given that permission and that role to free roam?
Yeah, I think certain playmakers on this squad are told when we get to that final third, I kind of want you to do what you do best and be disruptive. He is one of them. Malloy is another, and Ikaza is the third. Like these three guys can interchange, move around. We just didn't have anyone supporting their kind of holes in the field once they left them, which was our
Right.
downfall. Like we didn't have anyone make that overlapping run. We didn't have
Yeah,
anyone fill in.
exactly. If you look at the heat map where Juan David was, he was a little bit on the right, but he was more towards that central area, and you see where he's moved a lot around. And
Well,
if you look at the numbers, shots on target, Emilio had one, Juan David had two, Cal Jennings zero. Uh, what was the other number that was kind of interesting? Successful crosses, Emilio one, Juan David two, so he's throwing in there. Chances created, Emilio with three, Juan David with two, and Cal Jennings with one.
did you just look at shots total itself?
Yeah, shots on target is one for Emilio and two for
No.
Juan David.
Yeah, but shots itself, that's shots on target. If you look at shots itself, one DV accounted for 8 total shots, and the team shot attempts were set at 14.
Yeah, I
So he
have I
had
have
more than half of the Charleston battery's shot attempts.
shots on off target one and block shots five for Juan David. Which kind of concerns me because we bring in a striker forward a little bit different than MD, and didn't seem like he produced a lot. Now he did apologize coming down the tunnel. He did apologize for not showing up tonight when we're getting there, getting him to sign a scarf. Uh, but we need more out of our forward.
Granted, you want one more caveat on Juan David?
Yes, sir.
He scored a second goal, and it was waved off. For God knows what reason, I have no idea why they called a foul. 2 goals.
I think it was a handball or something like that. And we're
It
gonna.
was a handball, and then it just dropped, and he just whacked it, and that thing
Uh,
just sounded so sweet when it came off of his foot.
It
so
was dirty because the goalie stood still.
Yeah,
He saw that one and he could not react.
so let's talk quickly about the blue team that was out there, and I
the
think
Blue
what we're
City
just
Raspberries.
no, we were talking about the blue team, the center official.
Oh,
How many red cards has he given us in the last four matches?
3.
Three.
This is now the third, or is this the fourth?
I don't know. It doesn't matter. I mean, it
Yeah,
does matter, but it doesn't matter. So I went back. I didn't see what happened. I saw that arm was kind of a little bit raised. I went back and looked at the replays when I got home. That's exactly the way I felt when he pulled out the card.
so did Arturo.
And I went back and looked, and I do not see where he even got the requisite, criteria to issue a red card.
no,
He
it was
didn't
all
even.
fluid motion.
And when he showed an elbow, the blue team guy did. He even used the wrong arm.
Well, he also said you went up in his face, and it was
He
like the
didn't.
guy was grabbing him. He's moving naturally with his arm out, and then maybe it's still there, but he's still holding on. he didn't hit him in the head because the guy just looked up and got off the ground right away. Like,
He ran
oh,
off.
you're giving him a red for that? Okay.
I mean, you can see the look on Arturo's face when he knew he probably thought it was yellow. I thought it was a yellow, but then when he turned around and saw him pulling out a red card, he doesn't need to be refereeing our matches anymore. That referee, and I'm going to go on a rant here because I think I went on a rant last time. He is so focused on him being the center of attention and being the person that everybody remembers from that soccer match that he doesn't need to be playing center referee anymore. He talks to the players way too much. He doesn't have control of the match, and then he makes bullshit calls like that not only just affect that moment in the game, but the rest of the game and a couple games after. Because Arturo is a key player coming off an injury. I think that's the reason why he wasn't starting, because he was injured coming into this, so they'll give him some minutes. And then all of a sudden, when the couple minutes he gets a red card, ridiculous.
Well, and the
Granted,
other
can
thing
you?
that really upsetted was that if you look at the majority of the fouls that were committed on the battery, the referee would stand over top of where the ball was being placed and would delay it. He wouldn't allow us to play quick. And then there was times where the referee would be talking to one of our players who had committed a foul while letting the other team play, while letting Louisville be able to play quick. It's like you can't talk to the players if the other team's playing. You have to stop the game if you're talking to the players. Like you can't, because then you're distracting. And if the player runs away from you, and you look at that uh, as what do you call it? Being
A bullshit call. That's what it's
yeah,
called. I'm sorry.
being disrespectful or whatever, and gets a yellow card. I mean, that's just messed up. And, now you have the whole new referee abuse policy. Is that considered dissent at that point? With you running away from the referee?
I don't know how
I'd
running
like to
away from
get.
referee is dissentful, but maybe it is.
I had one of my high schoolers get yellow carded running to the referee. He's one of the three captains, and he's one of the ones who's supposed to be only one of the ones supposed to be able to talk to the referee. And he runs over to
Uh,
the referee asking
yeah, I was at one of those
my back
matches.
get carded, and he got yellow carded because the way he ran to the referee was in a dissentful manner. Apparently, it's like
I
what?
was I was at one of those matches the other night, and another player knocked a West Ashley player out,
Out.
and it was just a yellow card. The second time he did that, so I don't know about the level of officiating expertise on the high school fields right now.
Did
Patrick,
you
you were
see
going to
the
say
keeper's
something.
karate kick?
Yeah, I was gonna say, just touching on the red card. I mean, how long was it before Louisville had almost the identical challenge on one of our players? I want to hear your thoughts on the consistency of it, because like that's the biggest thing that boils my blood with referees. It's not a bad call. I can get over that. But if it's not consistent,
Right.
it really drives me nuts.
Yeah, when you're out there, and I only do youth league, so I'm by far not a uh, professional level officiate. Uh, but when you look at certain things like consistency, sometimes you might not see what happened. So sometimes I get that. But you should be able to look at the referee, and sometimes you just use the referee, you just go like, I just didn't see it. And you don't want to call it if you don't see it. I think what the first call on Arturo, he thought he saw something. He saw some player that took a dive because he got hit right below the chin a little bit, and he reacted inappropriately. The other thing, I kind of look at referees and look for little things they do, such as that taught when you go through referee courses, even the youth thing, you're taught certain things like don't turn your back on the ball. That referee will turn around and sprint the other way and not even look at the ball. He did that
Oh,
several times.
a
You know,
weird sprint, by the way.
how are you supposed to officiate a match if you're not watching where the ball is? You have two ARs are watching behind you, watching other things. So I don't know. I don't know if there's any lack of communication. It'd be interesting to see if there's any
Do
communication
you
between him and
think?
This
the
is
Do you
ARs.
think that?
What?
Do you think it's lack of communication, or do you think it's a potential retraining or re-look at the training method by the referees at the U.S. and the U.S. system?
No, I because a lot of referees don't make themselves the center of attention. Because we talk about a lot about that with Premier League.
True. I
This
wish we
guy
had those
makes
here in South
himself
Carolina.
he makes himself the center of attention. He is the one that everyone walks away from that match going like, oh yeah, he was the guy in the middle, and he was the one uh, taking too long to start free kicks, holding up play, handing out red cards, all sorts of just his mannerisms, just just kind of lead me to believe that he is more focused on his own personal gain than actually being a witness to a match.
And the sad part is that that's the majority of the high school system here in South Carolina too.
Well, just sticking with this game in particular, I think even him, like, because the chance I'm talking about that basically they did the same elbow in one of our players' face was in front of the fourth official and the linesman. Obviously, is in front of the benches, but a lot of players were just looking at the fourth official like you just saw it. Tell him. And I think it comes down to what you're touching on with this center ref, Brad, is that he has his way. He's not even going to listen to his fourth official or his sideline. He doesn't care because they were just like, what do you want me to say? And it's like, this is your job. This is what you get paid to do. Speak up. It doesn't matter if he doesn't listen to you. You know you should say something. I mean,
Exactly.
I was 15 rows away from the elbow, and I was like, that was worse than the other one. The guy actually tried to elbow him in the head.
And
Yeah.
that's part of their responsibilities is to be watching where the center ref is not watching, so they can pick up things like that. Fourth officials can definitely should have communication with the center. He could have called him over there. Same thing with a red card on Arturo. Maybe he should have went over to the AR and said, "Hey, let's talk this through real quick. What'd you see? This is what I saw," and then made a decision. But no, it was immediate. Didn't even flinch for a second. Other than the only person that flinched was the guy who got hit in the chin, who flinched up and ran off immediately afterwards
Well,
after he saw that there's a red card
last
come out.
thing, last thing with that. Do you think, since we don't have a VAR system in the U.S. yet, do you think it's okay and more appropriate and more justified the fans would want to see it more if the referees check each other? Like in that instance, the center ref gets called over by the fourth official and they have a quick word and then make a decision after that.
Well,
But
that's the job. He should be doing
Right.
that. That's like that 100% should be happening. He
That's
just
not
didn't
being
do it.
taught though. That's
it is
It
not
being
being
taught.
is.
communicated.
That's what they're taught to do. He
It is
just
being
doesn't
taught.
do it.
I've never seen it. I've never seen a fourth official in a professional, like other than watching the World Cup or watching Serie A or the Prem or something like that. I have not been in a game or to a game, played in a game where I've seen the fourth official communicate with with the center referee other than additional time. It doesn't happen.
Well, maybe they should make it happen, because
Yes, they could.
decisions like a red card are major. Goals are hard to come from, hard to get.
That's
Right?
that's different when
You
you're at the
work for
center.
90 minutes, and we only got one off a keeper that couldn't see. They got two over 90 minutes off of one that the keeper couldn't see or messed up. They're very hard
Yeah.
to come by, very hard to come by, and to just make a rash decision like he did without even consulting somebody just for a second, just to pause to go, let me make sure what I'm about ready to do is the proper thing to do.
Yeah, a hundred
But I
percent.
think I think his ego and his lack of confidence leads him to make those kind of rash decisions. I don't know. VAR is a tough thing. I don't like VAR, because it just holds slows down the match. But
Right. And I'm
as
not
much
saying
as
you
he was,
have to do it, but at least at some degree, I would have to go word. Like if I am throwing a red card, if I fully believe I'm about to red card somebody, at least before I hand out a red, I have to check with one of my officials to make sure. Hey, do you think this is a red? That's make
and maybe they
them.
do. Maybe they don't walk over there. Maybe they have the communication system so they can talk through that. But that obviously was not the case with Arturo because it was immediate. It was he was grabbing for his pocket shortly after it happened.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'll just say one last thing. In order for stuff like that to make a difference, there has to be accountability, and there is none. Like nobody, the Federation, U.S. Soccer, nobody goes back and says, "Hey, that was a blatant mistake. You're suspended for 6 games or 6 weeks." It's just like, "Hey, ref a lower league game one time if there is a punishment, which isn't because you're still letting them ref a game, and then you get to go back in and do whatever you want to do." So like
and
until you have accountability on it, it's never going to change.
yeah, and maybe that's and I'll back off now. Maybe that's because there's not enough in the referee system to get to that level that they don't have that choice. Then go, okay, you're sitting out the next 6 matches. or even, hey, you're not going to be center. You're going to be an AR for the next 6 matches or something along those lines. I don't know if there's just not enough feeding into it, or the money's not there. As much as we pay for beers and tickets, and they keep taking stands away from us. Oh, we weren't going to talk about that, were we? Keep taking standing sections away from us. Maybe they should pay them a little more, and we get a little more professionalism out of it. I don't know.
I
Long,
would just like one replay of an event on the big screen right after it happened. I kept looking over, being like, "Let me see that red card again. Let me see that." Or
Oh,
like,
do they?
I
I
was
thought
waiting
they.
for them to show the Louisville player doing it to get the crowd riled up
Oh,
behind
I
him.
thought that was just an advertising board up there. They can do replays on it.
oh
I
yeah,
thought.
Oh, okay. Sorry, battery. If I know you're not listening, but if you happen to be, that's my dig at that damn scoreboard. It's oversized and really bright.
The graphics did look good. They were cool,
Hey, the
but I just
graphics,
wanted to see a replay of
fantastic.
the red card so I could boo.
Yep, several times. But anyways, okay, let's talk quickly about Rhode Island because they're coming up next. What are we gonna do?
Big grudge match. I mean, we haven't beat them yet. we got we got to finally beat this team.
How do we draw this? We come up with Louisville first and then Rhode Island second. I mean, couldn't they get a couple matches in? I don't know.
I, I kind of like being able to face them early in the season because then it allows you to figure out what you need to do against these higher competitive teams, and then you're playing the lower end teams for the majority of the rest of the season, maintaining that. But now we are playing catch up with Louisville and Rhode Island already.
Yeah,
That's
we
the other
lost six
bad
points.
part.
Basically, we basically lost 6 points.
Not if we beat Rhode Island.
What's a big? It's I get what you're saying. It's a big swing from between first and second place, where end of the year and you're fighting for home field advantage, home field Eastern Conference, home field championship advantage.
Yep.
These big games matter, and from what I saw on Saturday night, if we bring that to Rhode Island, we're going to get hammered by them. They're even more deadly on the counter, and they're just I like when we played our best, it was a tough game to play. And we have holes all over the pitch where guys just are falling off, and they got to get it together in order to play a team like that.
Okay, predictions. Ryan, what's your prediction? Goal wise, not food wise.
Battery win 1-0.
Say it again.
Battery win 1-0.
You can't do that. You just said earlier that you always give, that one goal to the other team.
Oh! Now you're judging me for
This might
giving
be
you
a
shutout? No.
history. I don't think you've ever predicted
This
a
is
clean
the
sheet.
this is the this is the battery's first shutout. I think
I
Luis
wrote that one
back.
down.
I think
I-
Luis comes back and he shuts down the box this week. I think he's this is the best way to put it for Luis. He has accepted the fire around him and he is burning the fire inside of him stronger to consume everything around him instead of just trying to put out the fires. Yeah.
He's getting all
He's
eight
gonna
tentacles
kill
out.
everything in the box this week, and I think it's gonna be a 1-0.
All 8 arms coming out.
Yep, he's gonna be a Mr. Octopus.
Patrick,
It's what I mean. I'll just go 3-2. If we can start firing some goals in, from what I saw from our defense, if they just keep letting the other team pepper our goal, eventually a few are going to go in, and it's not going to be the goalie's fault. But
so
I just don't see it this match
we
of a
we
clean sheet.
we lose a lot on the counter. How important is it that we score that first goal?
It's huge. It changes matches. Teams have to completely adjust their tactics.
Because they got to
Either
come
they
out, right?
throw more forward, either they go more forward, which opens them up, or they play more defensive, which doesn't help them because they need to go forward. So it's more of a win-win for our play style if we go up 1-0.
Okay, I'm going 2-0. Juan David with another invisible wonder goal, and I'm going with Nate. Nate was so damn close. The equalize so close. You could see it in his face. I could see it. I was standing right there and just didn't happen. But he was so aggressive in the box. It just didn't happen for him. It's going to happen this coming week.
I'm gonna say Cal will get a goal, and is MD fit enough to be back on the pitch? Do we know?
I don't know.
If he's
I'm
fit
not.
enough, he's getting the game winner.
He's a double doctor. He should be always fit, right?
Should already have diagnosed himself and
Yeah.
healed himself.
Okay, anything else to add? I hear more planes, drones flying over Ryan's house.
No, I gotta keep going.
Okay, y'all. We'll catch up with you on I think it's Saturday night.
Yes, sir.
Saturday night.
Patriots
Kick off
point.
at what time?
Should be the
7:30.
same time, 7:30.
Don't be moving on us, battery, because people either show up late or they show up really early.
I know. I like the 6 p.m. games.
It would be nice. But anyways, we'll see y'all out there. Because that's kind of the difference between us three clowns and other people that do podcasts. We actually go to the matches, and we actually live here in the Charleston area, and we're actually supporters. Yeah.
Season ticket members.
And season ticket members. We actually pay to go watch this. So if you're
Ryan
wondering
will
what's
be on time for this one in the parking lot so we can have a beer.
who will be?
Ryan will be on time.
Ryan.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
be
will
on
be
this
time.
time.
Okay. We'll be there at 5 o'clock. Okay.
Oh no, West Ashley plays Wando on Saturday.
Oh well. Battery first.
Battery first. Okay, y'all. Cheers.
All right. See you Saturday.